My brothers came to Egypt. They were bankrupt. Old, tattered clothes, sandals. But they left with wealth. They came with a poor mental attitude, killed feelings. I've loaded them with forgiveness. And they left with material and spiritual wealth. As they moved over the last sand dune, I still waved at my brother Benjamin, and he waved at me. It was so wonderful to see my blood brother. Same father, same mother. In the meantime, the old man, Jacob, was still weeping because of the death of his son Joseph. He was worried about Simeon in the jail. He was worried about Benjamin, would he come back? He suffered from chronic grief. Have you suffered from chronic grief? Are you suffering from chronic grief? The story of Jacob and Joseph have got good news. Eventually, this procession came to Hebron. Man, can you see the procession? 10 donkeys carried only the gifts from Joseph to Jacob. These were to be offloaded, and he had to study each gift. Another 10 donkeys, especially for Jacob, loaded with the best food of Egypt. And then clothes for Jacob. You know, this old man, I don't think he bought a shirt and a pants for years because of the drought. They fitted Joseph, the old man, with the most beautiful garment, the royal garment. And then the wheel was invented during the Hyksos period, in which I served as Prime Minister. And for the first time, my father saw wagons. An ancient mechanism to take him from poverty to wealth. But there was one thing that the boys had to set right with the father, because they shouted, "Joseph is alive, Father, Joseph is alive." Can you see the old man? He's bewildered and he fainted. Can you blame him? But he recuperated. And he said, "I'm so glad Benjamin is back, and Simeon, I thought you were dead. And now you're telling me Joseph is alive. I mourned for him for 22 years, and now you're telling me he's alive. How must I believe you? You've deceived me in the past." Father says, "Benjamin, please come and look at this." And for the first time, the old man with his walking stick walk outside to look at the wagons, beautiful, draped with Egyptian royal motifs. And Benjamin said, "Dad, you know this specific wagon, look at the max, it's bigger than the other wheels. This is specially for Dad. Dad, this wagon will not overturn. You can go up to 10 k's an hour and it will still take its bend gracefully." And then eventually they packed all their stuff on the wagons which Joseph sent them. Wagons to pull them out of poverty to wealth, to pull them out of hurt to rejoicing. And can you visualize Jacob on his wagon with the mags and Armstrong shocks? The old man was so happy, whistling on the wagon. And maybe he said to Simeon, "Please, can you get the horses to go a little faster? I want to see my son Joseph." And in our forest, I got another procession ready. I think the most splendid, with splendor and drapings, bells and whistles on my chariot. It was a royal procession from a forest to Goshen to meet my father. I haven't seen him for 22 years. In my loneliness, I longed for my father. In jail, I longed for him. When I was appointed Prime Minister of Egypt, I longed for him. And now, I'm going to see him. I'm going to see him. And eventually, the two processions came closer and closer and closer. And I could see my father. He could see me and I could see him, and with his old hand, he started waving at me. I got off my chariot and I helped him getting off from his wagon. And we looked at each other. We couldn't talk. It was just an embrace, a very long one. My tears wet his garments, and his tears wet my garments. No words, silence was eloquent. And in that embrace, something happened. My father's grief disappeared. In a place of his hurt, a new joy, a new satisfaction, a new meaning of life entered his lonely, broken heart. And something happened in my heart. I had so many questions. Why did this happen? And now I could embrace my dearly beloved father. And now I want to tell you something. Something about another Joseph, who is also a deliverer. We believed that he would come one day. That's why we offered lambs. And my friend, he's not far away. I think he's getting his wagons ready. And he will personally come to each one of us. Of course, I've got so many questions and you've got so many questions. But like me and Jacob, who embraced one another, he's going to embrace you. And that hurt. The injustice that was done to you, the misunderstandings, the disappointments. The moment the other great deliverer, Joseph, will embrace you, these negative emotions will make place for peace, for joy, not for a season, but for eternity. And this is the message I bring to you. My hurting friend, another Joseph is on his way to embrace you, take you from your poverty to his wealth, from your turmoil to his peace. I don't think that day is too far distant. May you and I be ready to enjoy eternity with the other Joseph. Thank you for watching this presentation. To subscribe to our channel, click here, then click the bell to get notifications. For the next presentation, click here. See you next time.